What is up, YouTube? The Biblical Beast himself, the Archangel, back with a new video. Not a review, but a discussion video like old time's sakes. This is a discussion that really needs to happen though, and listen, before we even get all into it, all Assassin's Creed fans gather around because we're going to talk about the state of the game franchise, and I'm well aware there are going to be a few of you in the AC community that's going to disagree with my thoughts on Valhalla in this video, so before you even say it, I get that you might love this game, and that is okay. I'm not one of the people who freaking feels like my opinion matters more than everybody else's. And then if you like what I don't like, you're a bad person, you're wrong, and vice blah blah blah, whatever. It's okay. It's okay that you enjoy Valhalla. It's okay that you love Valhalla. It's okay that it might be your favorite Assassin's Creed game. I'm not telling you that it isn't. But it is the reason I'm making this video. Not necessarily because it's a bad or good game. I think it's an average game. But because it's a bloated game. So before getting into it being bloated, I do have to talk about my own general opinion of the game. Just quickly, it's not a review. Since I didn't do a review of Valhalla and didn't really do a full, best games of 2020 video, which it would have been in that video, just know I think Valhalla is an average game that is nowhere near as good, in my opinion, as Odyssey and Origins. The game has really bad The game has really bad pacing, a main character I don't really care about, a lackluster location, mediocre loot, terrible bow designs, and well, the point of the video is bloated. With that said, I don't think the game is bad. Like I said, it's average. I can't stress enough. I think it's average, not bad. Relax. I know there are people that do love, the game. They are big fans of Vikings and ancient Scandinavian culture. It's fine. Love the game. I'm not telling you you can't love the game. Relax. What I am telling you is this game, as well as Odyssey and Origins, games that I do think are better, are also bloated games. So what is a bloated game? A bloated game is a game that's too long for all the wrong reasons. Games filled with irrelevant, pointless content, pointless missions, mandatory side quests that aren't really meaningful or important or impactful. The big thing is bad side quests. That's what a bloated game is. A lot of bad side quests that it just inflates game. The good stuff I read about this was someone on a PC Gamer article saying, games seem more determined to tire us out than leave us wanting more. That was their description for a game. How gaming was it that they made that quote for, or that article for. But bloated games are games that are supermassive, but also empty and not enjoyable. Valhalla is a great AAA example of all of that. The system of having to get your whole to level 64 progress in the story is literally developers forcing you to do boring side quests, forcing you to do everything other than play the game itself to inflate time. I have 60 hours into Valhalla, and I don't even feel like I've done anything. That's bad. It's bad to play a video game where you played 60 hours and you don't feel like you've made any progress. You don't feel like you've done anything. You feel like you've just been wasting your time for 60 hours. That's a bloated video game. When I stream, I try to pass up on streaming Valhalla because it's not a good stream game. It's too uninteresting, too boring, poorly paced to be a stream game. And not just a Valhalla issue, that's also a flaw of Cyberpunk 2077. You can have all the opinions and conversations about Cyberpunk, but for me, the biggest issue that I have as a streamer is it's not really a streamable game. It has poor pacing. It has a lot of uninteresting and irrelevant side quests. It falls in the category of being a bloated RPG. Also, if you don't already follow me, I stream on Twitch Monday through Thursday. Link for that being in the description box below. If you want to follow, please be my guest. If you don't, that's fine. Anyways, back on topic. As I mentioned before, this isn't just a Valhalla problem. Odyssey was also bloated, to a lesser extent. It could be ignored if you played as Cassandra, whom in my opinion was the better character to play as in the game. Being in a bloated world isn't too bad if the main character is enjoyable and surrounding area is interesting as well. Odyssey didn't have bad pacing. Origins was, the least bloated of the three. Once more, had a great environment, great atmosphere, and a great main character. Amazing voice acted character in Bayek. See my video on Origins if you want to, get a good idea on how much I enjoyed Origins. I have my videos on Origins and Odyssey somewhere on this video at the end, so go ahead and click those and watch them if you want to. Dragon's Inquisition, Mass Effect Andromeda, has some pretty terrible side quests, and that's coming from me, a big Bioware fanboy. I love Inquisition. Probably the best Dragon Age game, but not my favorite Dragon Age game, but probably the best one. Andromeda, I thought the game was fun. Thought it was fine. Yeah, I know there's a lot of issues with it, but I thought it was fun for the most part. I have a video on that too. I'm not going to attach it to the video, but you can watch if you want to. But the point is, both those games had very terrible side quests and just felt like inflated game length. Again, referring to the article that I read, the writer said the best open world games don't feel bloated, just feel full of options, which is what you want out of an open world experience. Not boring side quests, not pointless interactions. You want a very large world, vastly filled with lore, filled with options for you to do whatever you want and have fun doing it. Witcher 3, which is my opinion is the greatest RPG of all time. Yes, me the person whose favorite game is Mass Effect. Doesn't even think that's the best game of all time. I think The Witcher is the best RPG of all time. Witcher 3 is just as much of complete of a good game as you can possibly get. It's in a class of its own when it comes to being insanely detailed, good, and open world filled with good options, good side quests, always being interesting and intriguing. In Witcher 3, the side quests are just self-containing missions, self-containing stories of their own. They don't feel like they're just random, go from point A to point B, repetitive nature games like side quests, like side quests in Skyrim. They don't feel like they're just thrown in to help the player level or distract you from the main story. They feel like they matter. Witcher 3 did everything perfect, did everything right. Witcher 3 is a game where if you do every single side quest, every DLC expansion, you're putting in at least 200 hours or more, and not a second of that time feels pointless. Take a page out of CD Projekt Red's approach to Witcher 3 to figure out how to make a very big open world that isn't bloated. So let's get back to Assassin's Creed, which is why we're here. I said where we're here. I'm an idiot. Ignore me. Just go ahead and just hit that exit. You probably already did leave. How does AC fix the bloated problem? For starters, AC needs to get back to being an Assassin's Creed game. I know it's not topic of video, but it needs to be said. Assassin's Creed needs to get back to being an Assassin's Creed game. I love being in an open world RPG, but with this change, Ubisoft has kind of stepped away from the Brotherhood itself. Eivor doesn't feel like an assassin. In fact, one of the producers of the game has openly said Eivor isn't an assassin. Cassandra and Lexios, if you pick either of them, doesn't matter which one you pick, they aren't assassins. They're mercenaries. At least with Bayek, you can kind of, it's a prequel to the series, so Bayek, you're playing as someone who isn't technically an assassin yet, but the Brotherhood gets started because of him and Aya. The Hidden Ones are the precursors to the Brotherhood. So at least with Bayek, you're kind of an assassin, just not really an assassin. So 2 out of the 3 games where you playing, so 2 out of the 3 games where you aren't playing as assassins in a game called Assassin's Creed. In the 3rd game, you're only an assassin to the Hidden Ones DLC. That isn't good. Get back to us being an assassin. Get back to the Brotherhood being important. Get back to the Templars being important. Get back to those 2 things, the Templars versus the assassins being the focal point of the game while also being in these ancient time periods. How else can Ubisoft fix the bloated issue? The easy answer is make the side quests mean something. Make them rich in story. You don't have to shorten the games, just make everything in the games worth experiencing. A single player open world game should never feel like a grindy live service game. Valhalla does feel like a single player version of a looter shooter game. It's not a looter shooter, but it feels like one. It's as grindy as one. If I'm playing something like Outriders or Destiny or Marvel's Avengers or any of those looter shooter games, Valhalla feels exactly the same, just bow and arrows and axes and swords instead of guns. That's really it. Get back to assassins being the main protagonist and make the side quests mean something. No pointless quests, no meaningless tasks that have no substance. Stop with the whole, with everything involved in like the poor designs of the weaponry. It's not difficult, Square Enix. Not Square Enix. It's not hard, Ubisoft, because I know what you can do. I've played every Assassin's Creed game ever made. So I know what you're capable of. We all know what you're capable of. Get back to having these games be as good as they used to be. There's enough lore in this franchise to make side quests rich, in depth, and good experiences. Do it. With all that said, that's it for the video. Check out my past AC videos if you want. As well, don't forget to follow me on Twitch. Be safe, people. Be kind to one another. Catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye. Good night.